seeing people like Kim Belair and other people, these are the only people that are speaking in the industry. These are the only people present in the industry guiding these companies. And it is frustrating watching them drive the industry into the ground and to view gamers like, oh, these are idiots. We could do whatever we want. And so over the past few months, I've been plotting out a map on how I can take a role in the industry where I can also present, I can also speak, so that Kim Belair and other people who have intentions of terrorizing developers and threatening them, if you don't force diversity in, this bad thing will happen to you. I do not feel that is the right approach for anything. And so my long-term goal has been to position myself to where I can take speeches and do presentations in the industry so that developers and publishers have another voice to listen to. So it's not just Kim Belair. So it's not just, and I can't remember the other people's name, but there was a lady who said she's never even made a game before, and she's, laughing about it, going, haha, but now I get to tell developers what to do. I've never even made a game before. That really frustrated me. Mm-hmm. And so, unfortunately, because of the videos that I have been doing here on YouTube, it is very clear that I have a bias. If you look up my name, if you look up Sungrand on the internet, it's clear I have a bias for a particular side of the conversation. And so the reason why I have taken the actions this month, which was basically I was purposefully making people angry at me. I was trying to get people to make angry content online so that when I put in a bid to do a speech, if they look online, they'll see, oh, wait, okay, so it's not just one side. This person isn't biased. It's people from all sides that are critical of this guy. If I didn't do what I did this month, then if I put in a bid to do a speech, I say, hey, I'd like to speak at your university. I'd like to speak at your event. They would look online. They would see, oh, well, Jarrell is sided with these people. These people are cheering for Jarrell, and he's only receiving criticism from one side of the conversation. He must be biased. He's not trustworthy. So that is why I have taken... I hope you follow my logic here. Does that make sense?
I'm trying. I'm tripping up a little bit because
let me know what doesn't make sense to you.
Yeah, I was trying to let you speak. I didn't want to try to interrupt you, but
yeah.
Do you feel like that is the best approach though? Because it's not being true to yourself if you're manipulating a situation in order to get somewhere, to try to, like, it's like a 4D chess move that people keep saying, like, oh, he's one step ahead of the game with what he's doing here, instead of just being, hey, this is who I side with, and this is transparently why I feel this way. And if this school or organization or wherever that would be giving you the speech would say, no, we don't see the other side to the story from you, so we don't want you, then that's on them. Why do you need to bend the knee and say, hey, I actually went against the grain against these people. I'm one of you guys. You put a fake nose ring in and you say, hey, I can actually hang out, and then kind of go through there, almost like a Trojan horse type thing, which is what I'm hearing from you. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that is an excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. And I wish things work that way. I wish things could be black and white. Things can be simple, but I have been in industry situations where that's just not how it works. I wish it could be like that. But working at industry level it's cutthroat, it is ruthless, and it's brutal. And that's why I stepped away from it, because I don't like having to be in that environment where you don't just get to be 100% honest and transparent. But working at industry level, there are moments where you will have to do things that this isn't how I would like to do it. This is why I want to separate my industry work from my YouTube channel, that I just want to make cool, fun stuff for people. And I'm sure you've noticed, and many other people notice, I'm someone different in my speech videos. Mm-hmm. That's not the same person that you see unboxing, stupid products and having a laugh and making jokes. Because when I do my industry work, I'm not the same person. I'm someone that's ruthless, and I don't like having to be ruthless. I don't like having to maneuver. But you have to understand that when you work in the industry, you either do what needs to be done, or someone will cut your throat and stab your back, and they'll do the work. And that's my priority.
I understand that. I've worked in the industry myself, and I understand it's a very dog eat dog world. I mean, my
Yeah,
level of experience is not developer level, but it's QA, game master style,
yeah,
and recruiting. So I've worked with developers and I've had developers hired back in the day. So I understand how the
yeah,
game works, and I understand the industry a lot better than a lot of people think I do. So it's
yeah,
not lost on me when you say that.
yeah.
Uh,
So you get it.
but yeah, but one of the questions while you're here, I wanted to make sure I asked because I think what is confusing a lot of people about your approach right now is I was being like, what the hell do you want? Like what is your end goal? I think that's what's confusing
Yeah,
people because you
my
say, oh, I
end.
want to have fun in
Yeah,
games, I want this, I want that, but 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 by almost, I don't want to say stabbing your own audience in the back by doing that or telling people to unsubscribe if they're negative,
yeah.
what are you gaining out of this? What is your end goal from all of this?
So that was a determination I made because it would, if you take a look at the language that I use for those statements, they were the most vague, niche statements that I could come up with. Obviously, I don't want to force people to unsubscribe, but I had to have a cover. And I'm revealing the cover now, so I'm sabotaging things a little bit. Well, actually, a lot, because I can't just say what my plan is, and I can't just say, I need people to attack me from all sides so it looks even and fair. If I say that, that ruins my whole
But
goal.
that's a
Do you
good,
understand?
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So by you coming
Yeah.
on right now and saying all this, doesn't this kind of defeat the whole purpose of whatever approach you were doing then?
I did. And the reason I've chose you is because I've been listening to you, I've been listening to other people, and this goes back to my ruthlessness when I'm doing industry work. I regard the videos that I did where I was addressing industry topics, I'm a different person. I'm really mean and I'm ruthless in those, and I don't like that. That's why I keep telling I don't like doing those. I don't like the speech videos. And when I am in that mindset, when I'm doing industry work, I do not consider people's feelings, because you can't. If you consider people's feelings, you will be beat to the punch. You will be beaten by the other people working around you. And it like you said, it's dog eat dog. So when
Mhm.
I'm doing industry work, I route a path to my goal, and I take whatever steps necessary to achieve that goal, no matter what it takes. And I had not considered the feelings of the community in this situation. And I realize now that was a mistake, and I should have spent more time considering how other people would feel. And that's something that I need to improve. If I'm going to keep working at industry level, I need to be able to introduce into my thought process, okay, how am I going to negatively affect people? How are people going to feel about that? It's never been a part of my professional workflow before. And I see now that it's something I need to work on.
Watching what transpired, and being someone that for a long time was a very strong supporter of yours,
Mm.
seeing what I could only call a self-sabotage. I'm like, what is he doing over there? What the hell is happening right now?
Yeah,
And the this might come off as harsh, but I'm just going to say it anyways. But
yeah,
blaming your audience for your own transgressions, for your own direction, is
yeah,
is not a great direction to ever go. Uh, and and I would say like you need to just make the videos that you want to make. Never blame your audience for not understanding.
yeah,
Don't take it out on them. Don't take out your
yeah.
frustrations on them. People will disagree because trust me, if you've been following me for a long time, which you said you were, you might be familiar with the Amico stuff, which we talked about. So you familiar with
I did
that whole
actually watch
situation.
you through the Amico thing, and I'd forgotten all about it. That's pretty cool.
So I mean, it's one of those. This too shall pass if you stick with
Mm.
it,
Yeah,
but it only will pass if you handle it appropriately. My humble opinion, what I would do, someone who's been through this shit before would say, make a video, not like a, oh, I'm sorry, guys, but a video of just transparent honesty of this is what I was trying to do. It was, I look back in hindsight, that was not the right approach. I should never blame people for this. And just be
yeah.
very honest about your understanding of why it was wrong and start rebuilding that trust with people. Because right now it's really at like an all-time low. And
Yeah.
there's no way to, like, your currency is your trust on this
Yeah.
platform. And I learned that with the Amico saga.
See, this is why this was so difficult for me to do. And people were sending me messages, and I could tell people could see that I was second guessing myself in a number of my statements and videos, because the things I said were not the things that I feel. I obviously don't want to blame other people, but my whole objective was to make people angry and attack me. And what I was actively doing and chose to do was to trade the respect that people had for me, the goodwill that they had for me. I was trading that for better positioning in the industry so that I could do more good for gamers, so that I could fight more directly, because there's a limit to what I can achieve by doing the speech videos on YouTube. There's a real limit to what I can achieve. And if I can get into more places in the industry to speak in person, to present in person, to talk to developers, studios, and schools, I would be able to do way more. I would be able to fight for gamers and make sure that their voices are heard directly. And I have been wrestling this for months because I knew that this was going to hurt people. I did it knowing I was going to hurt people to an extent, but I didn't realize the extent to which it would hurt them. I thought people would just say, this guy sucks, we'll move on. I didn't realize people were really going to be upset by it. And
I think that's part of because you often say, I'm not a YouTuber.
Please go ahead and you can subscribe and like and hit the notification bell. If you'd like to see more stuff like this, let me know in the comments below. You can also like and subscribe.
I think that's part of because you often say, I'm not a YouTuber. And I think, maybe tell me if I'm wrong here, but maybe you were thinking that because you say that, people just believe that and run with it so that you can change on a dime, and they should just know, hey, he's not a YouTuber, he can do whatever he wants. But the reality hit you that you are a YouTuber, as much as you might not think you are. You make YouTube videos, you post them. You are you can call yourself not one, but you are one. So
people
it's
can
kind of
call me
disingenuous
whatever I
to say
want.
that. What's that?
Yeah, well, people can call me. We can all call ourselves whatever we want. Then, if you call me a YouTuber, then I'll accept. I can respect that. I can accept that. I'll respect it. But my goal is to not be a YouTuber. My goal was to make sure that someone's fighting for gamers, that someone's making sure gamers' voices are heard, and that someone who can take the hits and who can fight back will fight for gamers. That has been my objective. That's why I started making the speech videos, but I've been getting frustrated seeing the limit to what I can achieve with those. And that's why I wanted better positioning. And if I kept making those videos, it would become more and more clear what my bias is. I would look less neutral, and I would not have good positioning in the industry at that point. If you catch my drift.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Another point that was kind of a sticking point with me that I wanted to make sure I brought up here tonight,
Yeah.
because it would be remiss for me to ignore some obvious things that, and oh, by the way, I'm sure you've seen the videos being made about you, not just from me, but from other people as well.
I haven't seen a single one.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't watch videos about me, and I'm really busy with life stuff.
Then I will let you know, the general sentiment of the community right now is fairly frustrated. There is a general sentiment of distrust with you, especially when it comes to talking about, and this is going to be harsh, but I'm just going to say it because I'm sure people are curious to hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah.
Dealing with the passing of friends, and the we'll just say often referencing, whether it be cancer or old age or whatever miscellaneous event, where the passing of someone, and people will see that. And if it's a one-time thing, they might be like, all right, cool, I get it. I understand, we're all human. But there have been videos showing you saying this about multiple different people throughout the years in videos, almost as a way to emotionally manipulate them. What would you say to that?
I'm personally hurt that people would think that. And I don't think I've ever felt personally hurt on YouTube before, but that is something. Oh shit. Sorry. I discuss these topics because I read the comments, and there are people that have to deal with this, and they've never dealt with it before. And I discuss it because people told me that when I talk about it, it helped them. It helped them make their way through it. It helped them understand the situation. And the message that I'm trying to get out there is, don't be afraid. Try to be strong for the people who are suffering. That has been my message. And I am personally hurt that people say that I'm using that to manipulate, because I create those videos to support other people and to help them, because not everyone is already at a point where they've dealt with watching someone that you love and you care about, someone you grew up with. You watch them waste away into nothing, and they no longer get to be the person that they used to be, and you have nothing you can do but watch them suffer. There's nothing you can do. And I've been trying to find a way to help in some way, to help my family, my friends. And I think if I can find an answer, I want to be able to share that. And that's why I've made videos, and people have told me that they appreciate those videos. So that's why I've mentioned it a number of times. And I have had a tough time dealing with a number of people, and it's coming one after the other, because a number of my friends are older. They're people that I look up to, people who taught me and mentored me. And it just sucks that it all kind of happens all at the same time, you know? And their deaths, I want to show people that when someone dies like that, you don't have to let it make you worse. You don't have to let it make you angry or bitter. You let it make you into a more understanding and a compassionate person who's more willing to listen to the struggles of other people, despite them being totally different from you. And that was the point of discussing those videos. So I am personally hurt that people would say that I've used that to manipulate, because I made those videos with the intention to help people.
Okay.
And there is at least one of the viewers of my channel who did just lose a family member like that. And that's one of the reasons why I was discussing it a little more often, because it felt like we were experiencing it at the same time. I wanted to be able to support and help that person. So that's why I've been discussing it. And it's not like I've suddenly brought it up like, oh, I need to defend myself and make people feel sorry for me, because this is something that I've discussed a number of times on the channel before. I'm going to read the room. You always check the temperature and you read the room, and I'll see if that's something that people still want to hear about it. Because in the past, the people that were viewing my channel told me that this is good. It's good for us to talk about this, and they appreciated it. If they're now saying they don't like it anymore, then fine. Then I won't talk about it.
And by read the room, you said earlier you're not watching anyone else's videos. So you mean read the room like your own comment section, or what are you referring to?
Yeah,
okay.
I respond to people as much as I can.
Where do we go from here, I guess, is the next step. Like what do you want out of your YouTube channel at this point? Do you want it to continue to grow or get back on path, or do you want to continue the diverged path that you've created to go down a different road right now?
Well, I'm going to listen, for starters. I have been listening, but I need to listen more. But over the past few months, the vast majority of my content has just been funny, random stuff. And then I've been using the channel and then doing some industry topics here and there. And I can tell it's unpleasant for quite a few people, because they don't want to see that. And I personally don't like having to make those videos. And I only do them out of responsibility, because somebody needs to fight for gamers. And that's what I want to do. But I need to separate those two things, because they are not, I'm seeing now, I thought, because I'm not good at YouTube, I don't understand it. I respect you because you really get this. You understand this.
I don't agree with that, though. I would argue you're very good at YouTube, but you make some missteps along the way. And I could even argue some really silly video uploads that completely dismantle the plot of what people were following you for in the first place. Whereas if you're not a YouTuber and you don't care, oh, okay. But you coming on tonight talking about this and being open about it tells me that you do care about your channel and that you do want to fix it. And again,
So
tell me if I'm misunderstanding, if that is not what your point is here.
I had made my choice to trade my channel for better positioning in the industry. I had made that choice. And the reason I'm here now is because you have been telling me that people were just genuinely upset. And that's been sitting with me. You've told me we talked a little bit over the past week or two. And then people in the comments have been telling me that they're upset. And so I don't necessarily care about my subscriber count or anything like that. But what I do care is that I have just genuinely upset people. I've made them feel bad. And that's what I need to try to make better. I need to fix that because that's my fault that people feel bad. I don't actually know. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm trying to tell people I don't know what I'm doing here on YouTube. I'm just uploading videos. I don't really understand anything about YouTube. But what I do understand is what I did was entirely without consideration for other people, and I had approached it so pragmatically. And that's largely why I do want to leave out my industry type work from the channel, because if I do that, I'm likely to get back into that ruthless mindset again, and I don't want to upset or hurt people again like I have this month.
Okay. Well, from my perspective as a viewer of your channel, I'd say your strong suit really is just putting the suit on and speaking to the industry professionally about what I get that. I get that. And I think that's kind of what's so interesting at this crossroads that you're at right now, because that's kind of part of why you had a rise to fame. And it's kind of the ironic dichotomy of what you're dealing with of
I know
what grew
and
you
that,
is not.
I know. And that's largely, like, I have been trying to sabotage the channel actively because I did not want to earn an audience from that. To me, that is not, people think they cheer on the videos. I think this is cool, this is fun. I cannot explain to you how much I dislike doing those. They're not fun to me. They're not silly. I don't like the attention that I get from those videos. And it brings in people saying, yeah, put on the suit, take down this company. I only did those out of responsibility because no one else was doing it. No one else was fighting for gamers. And I really disliked doing it.
Okay.
And I saw that it would be a better use of my effort if I stopped doing those in videos and just did it in person in the industry. And I would make regular speeches. I would do trainings and seminars and lessons. And I thought that would be a better use of it. And I wouldn't have to lean so far into the ruthless, brutal side. And that's, you say it, you have to call it like it is. When I did those videos wearing the suit and speaking, they were ruthless and brutal, and they were mean, and they were meant to be, to achieve what I set out to achieve. And like I said, when I'm doing industry work, I disregard anything else. I just make my way to the end goal, and it's ruthless, and I hate it. I don't enjoy that at all. And I have felt awful that I built an audience using those videos because people thought they were cool and fun, and I really don't like those videos. Not a single one of my speech videos, except for the one or two ones where I'm trying to encourage and inspire people, I really dislike those videos. And it's hard to explain to people because they think this is cool, this is fun. It's not fun for me, it's work. I view that as work, and I did it because no one else was fighting for gamers, and that's why I did it.
That's fair. Do you consider yourself an honest person?
Living life just day to day, yes. But when I'm doing industry work, not always honest, because you have to be ruthless. And that's largely why I stopped working at industry level. That's why before I put the suit on and did that, it's been sitting in my closet for like more than 10 years or so. And it was always, people think the suit, oh, it's so proud, it's cool. I mean, honestly, I was a little bit ashamed of it because of the work that you have to do, and you have to deal with, there are people out there who are way worse than me. They're horrible. They're just rotten, vile, and you have to fight that. And if you don't put on your gloves, and if you don't strike harder than they do, they'll strike you down. And so that's, you know, when I am doing industry work, I'm not always honest. And that's why I don't like doing it, because I don't like that. I just want to be myself. And that's being me is honest,
fair.
You know? Absolutely. Everything's been honest, except for this month where I was just actively trying to get people angry at me, because to position myself better in the industry, there needed to be hate content about me from both sides of the conversation. Previously, there was only one side of the conversation disliking me and the other side of the conversation cheering me on. And you understand how that makes me look biased, right? And no one's going to trust some speaker who's biased already against their cause. So I needed content online that had both sides of the conversation saying, oh, we don't like this guy equally. That makes me look more neutral, so I can get to more places, I can speak in more places, and I can share my ideas in more places, and I can make sure your gamers' voices, what people are telling me in the comments, and I'm listening and trying to understand, I want to make sure that those voices can be heard in more places, not just, you know, there's a phrase, singing or preaching to the choir. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's no point in me going to a choir and preaching to them because they already agree. I need to be as neutral looking as possible so I can reach as many people as possible. If you get what I'm saying.
I do. But again, mad respect for you, by the way, for coming on here and being in the hot seat, because I'm giving you some pretty challenging questions, and I appreciate you being here and answering them the best you can. So now that you can be honest with us, what is your stance on what the videos you made? Like, for example, the Switch 2 pricing structure, because that was a video that a lot of people were very frustrated with you taking the industry side with. So if that was a lie or if that is true, what is the truth? I think that now people are very confused. So
the record straight, I don't like the pricing on the Switch 2. I don't like it at all. It sucks. And in the video, I was trying to, look, I can admit it, I was juggling too many things. I was trying to accomplish too many things in that video, and I didn't do a good job on that one. I was trying to get people upset at me. I was trying to position myself in the industry to be a little bit closer, and I was inflammatory in some places because I needed Nintendo to look at that and say, what the hell is this guy talking about? Because I had planned follow-up discussions for that as well. But my stance on that is the pricing sucks. I don't like it. I'm not getting a Switch 2 at launch because for me personally, I can't justify the price. The games are already more expensive in Australia as it is. And it was a bummer. And I wasn't really bummed out about the Switch 2 until I saw comments where people were saying, I've been priced out. I can't participate in this generation. And then that really hit a soft spot for me. And that I thought, like, that is so messed up.
Well, let's take it from Nintendo's perspective.
Yeah.
Do the games need to be that price?
I don't personally know. And I know what people want. I know that people wanted me to put on the suit and say, how dare you, Nintendo? How dare you? And I didn't do that for a number of reasons. One, again, I was trying to get people angry for the reasons that I discussed, to show, oh, look, this guy's not biased towards one side. So that was one thing. And the second thing was to position myself in a spot where I could bring people's needs and expectations to the forefront. I was trying to get people to say their side of the perspective, their side of everything, And then in the follow-up battle video where I directly addressed Doug Bowser, which, let me tell you, is terrifying. You don't just do that. That is terrifying to do that. And I did that video and I addressed Doug Bowser directly because I wanted him to see that there were people primarily who are priced out of the console and the games. And secondly, there are people who are not priced out, but they disagree and they will not participate. So that was my approach, was I'm not just making one video and then that's it. I plan ahead because it's about positioning. I needed Nintendo to go, what the hell is this video? What is this guy talking about? And then I can follow up with a video with the information that actually matters. Is people don't like the pricing. There are people that just can't participate and join in. And secondly, there are people that can, but they won't because they disagree. And those were my objectives. And I juggled way too many things in those videos. And I just did not do a good job on those.
Well, let me rewind it a little bit.
Yeah.
Why is it terrifying to talk to Doug Bowser? Because I tag him on X once in a while. He's liked my posts. I call him out all the time. I don't fear him. Why do you?
Because I'm not addressing him as, hey, I'm just this guy on the internet. Nintendo knows me. I am a professional working in the industry. And so to call him out in a way that, I'm not exactly friendly in that video. So it is that obviously I can't exactly explain absolutely everything, but if that is not well received, that video could have ended very, very badly for me. So me making that video was me sticking my neck out extremely far for gamers. And people don't really understand the danger that I put myself in by doing that. And I was sitting on that video and I was, for like 2 hours, I was thinking, I don't know if I should make this public because this could end very badly for me if they decide they didn't like what I've just said.
What do you mean the danger that you put yourself in? Are you worried that you could say something that would blackball you, not out of the industry specifically, but out of Nintendo? Is that what I'm hearing?
All of that, basically.
Because I do understand the industry, as we started this off with, better than most people. Yeah. I understand the reality of the blackballing. I understand how that all works. I understand the industry does pay attention to all this stuff going on here in the online discourse, as much as they pretend like they don't. They definitely have an ear to the ground with all of this.
Yeah.
And they like to pretend to everyone that they're not listening, that they're just trying to go about their business, do their thing. They're listening because this is the key to their customer base. These are the people letting their voices be heard here. So with this all being said, don't you think what you were doing was really working well? And then the complete shift in gear and dynamic that you made your channel, that Nintendo and all these other game companies would see that and be like, wait, is he on our side now? This is really confusing. We can't trust this guy at all. So why do that? Why, what benefit at the end of the day? Or is this something where you're like, in hindsight, it was not a good idea? Where do you stand with that?
I had to prioritize what I believed would put me in a position to do the most good. And the trade-off for that was the channel. The channel had to be traded for that. Because if I only keep doing the videos, I'm basically only going to be viewed as just a YouTuber. This is just a YouTuber making little videos in his mother's basement or wherever he lives. And that isn't exactly good positioning. And so by sacrificing the channel and doing more work in person is better positioning for me in the industry. It puts me in a position to where I can do more, because like I said, the amount of benefit that I can bring with these videos is limited. There's a real limit to what I can achieve there. And I know that, and I feel guilty. I feel like I should be doing more to help steer the industry away from this whole let's discriminate and not hire people based on their skin color, or they're not diverse enough, we're not going to hire them. That situation is so frustrating because I hear from a lot of people that tell me about their experiences that they were discriminated against because they weren't diverse enough. That is something that just someone has to fight that. Someone has to go into the industry and fight it. And there's only so much I can do here with YouTube videos. There's a limit to what those can achieve, but I know that in person, I know that I can have a much stronger impact.
So with that being the case, is there an agenda? Is there I can use and be honest, please.
Yeah.
Is there an agenda with I can use this to not just push the industry forward, but also push my games forward? Because you are a developer, you make games.
Yeah.
Do you see a personal benefit to, if I can change the industry, then I can personally sell more games? Or is
No.
it more of a, I care about the industry and
No.
it's a side effect for your games?
No, and I can prove that because if you look at any of my videos, you can go through my video list. If you look at any video where I'm addressing industry topics or speeches, nowhere in the links do I talk about my games. And since I've been discussing industry topics, I've actually just stopped talking about my games, and I've only very lightly discussed them because people keep asking me about them. But I always make sure, this is extremely important to me, that when I make an industry video about a speech or anything else, that's why I have been making a bunch of other videos, is I put in a buffer of nonsense, just funny joke videos, silly videos, before I even come close to talking about my games. Because I do not want to make people feel like they have to support my games because they liked something that I've said in an industry video. I do not want people to watch one of my videos where, I stick it to Sony and I say, Sony, how dare you? I don't want people to go and look in the description and see, this guy made a game, I'm gonna buy the game because I liked his speech. So, no, there's no ulterior motive there. The games I make are so niche and weird, and they're really just for fun. And I've worked in marketing and advertising, and I also really dislike that work, which is very funny that I've worked in so many lines of work that I actively dislike so much. But I don't like it, and you can see from my history, I've done a terrible job marketing my games because I actively don't. There's a grossness to marketing and advertising, and so I generally just don't push that hard with my games. And if I did, if I worked more actively, then yeah, I would be selling more copies of my games. But that's not the approach that I want to take. I want to take a more fun approach where people stumble upon my games and then they send me a message and they say, hey dude, this is so weird and fun. And I can say, yeah, you know what? I've also got free homebrew version games that you can play as well because I really like the Vita. Do you like the Vita? And they'll say, dude, I love the Vita. And that's really the kind of community that I want to have. That's the relationship I want to have with people. I'm so sick of being told to buy things. That's why I don't take ad sponsorships. I'm so sick of it, and I don't want to force my games down people's throat and be Raid Shadow Legends. It's this. It's annoying. And I'm just kind of hoping people stumble upon my games and have fun with it. So that's the approach. So to answer your question, no, you can see from my history, there is no ulterior motive to try and be famous so that I can sell my games better.
Do you want to prioritize yourself as a developer or as a speaker in the industry then?
That's what I've been grappling with over the past few months. And it's because my favorite thing is making games. That's what I really want to do. I just want to make games. I just want to make cool stuff for people. That has been my objective for as long as I can remember, is I just want to make cool stuff for people. But when I saw what was happening in the industry, I understood that there's no one else out there actively fighting for positive change. There's no one else fighting on behalf of gamers. There's no one there to defend gamers on the professional stage. And I have the experience in order to do that. And I feel obligated to do it. And so I've been torn, because if I do that, it means less time for working on my games. But it's a decision that I've chosen to make, and that I want to do the speeches, not because I enjoy them. I want to work more in the industry, not because I enjoy it or I want to, but because someone has to fight for gamers. Someone has to help steer the industry in a positive direction. And if there's no one else that's going to do it, then I have to contribute to that effort somehow. And that's how I feel about it.
Okay. So you're not really sure at this point.
I guess I did a bad job answering that question. I'm going to do both.
Okay.
I'm going to do both.
That's fair. I didn't know, like, are you any plans on ramping up on video output specifically on one area, or ramping down on your YouTube channel in general? Or have you thought about where is your channel now? Because from my perspective, it's all over the fucking map. You're putting videos out that are oh, I'm sorry, woe is me, let's go fishing, I fought someone at the grocery store, oh, woe is me for this one, deleting that one, oh, hey, Hypnotic, Bar Dark, Smash JT, you guys are awesome. I'm like, what is this channel even turning into? What like, as a viewer, I'm confused. So what direction are you going in the future?
Well, like I said, one, I don't really know what I'm doing on YouTube, and two, this past month I was actively sabotaging the channel in order to gain better positioning in the industry. Did I do a bad job of it? Probably, because I don't understand YouTube. I do not believe I'm good at it. I know that I don't really understand it. I can make a video where I'm really passionate about something that I'm talking about, and then it only gets a handful of views. But that's what I like doing. And I have heard from people that are telling me they want me to keep speaking on the industry stuff. They want me to keep addressing topics. And I have been considering that. But it's going to have to be on a different channel. And I need to take a more considered and focused approach. I can't do it the same way that I've done before, because I need to do more hands-on work in the industry.
So you plan on making a second channel?
Most likely I will, if people still want me to keep speaking on industry matters. But that comes down to whether or not people actually want that.
That's fair, but you could I'm trying to hold back a smile because you're like, I'm not a YouTuber. And now you're saying I'm starting a second channel now. So
I'm realizing now how funny that is. I'm realizing the irony of that.
Mercenary for 2 says, you make a mistake, I'll forgive you if you learn from it. It's not really a question, but just more to give you the sentiment.
I appreciate that. I did a bad job. I just did a bad job this month, and I didn't consider other people. And I have to learn to be much better at that, because I have to accept that there are people here that care about the situation. They care about what happens, and if I do something bad, it's going to negatively affect them. And that's not something that was part of my thought process before, but I understand now what I did was an asshole move. And I really only considered my positioning in the industry.
You let a lot of people down, and I think that if you care, if you give a shit, you need to really have a come to Jesus moment with a video to be like, hey guys, I fucked up bad. Here's me being transparent and honest, and I'm going to be better moving forward. If you're not on board, I completely understand, but this is the best I can do. I'm only human, and hopefully people will hear you and trust you moving forward. Because I know I've been there myself, which is why I'm well versed with this situation. It's not going to turn around instantly. It's a long road from here, trust me. Like, I'm talking years, by the way. It's not like a couple weeks thing. And it's going to take a lot of work, because people are going to be hammering you about it. They're going to have the microscope on you, and they're going to be like, every little thing is going to be analyzed going forward now. So just keep that in mind. True North for the 5 says, why don't you delete the videos that made you famous? You aren't a YouTuber. You would have no problem deleting anything. You are a dedicated YouTuber. So he's saying you're a YouTuber. Just admit you're a YouTuber, because otherwise, why don't you delete those other videos?
I deleted stuff that I thought sucked and that I didn't like seeing in my thing. I sometimes see videos and I think, I just did such a crappy job on that. It sucks. I don't like seeing it. That's why I've deleted some videos. I thought they sucked. I didn't like seeing them.
How about this one? From Old Man Grim for the 5. Jarrell, so why not make videos about the making of your games? Which, by the way, please, I think a lot of people would love that.
Yeah.
And do like streams of you doing the work. That would be different and interesting. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered doing that?
Yeah, I actually have done that. I have done streams where I answer people's questions and I can give advice and tips on game development, art. So I have done a couple streams, but I don't do that regularly. I haven't been doing regular videos of those for the reasons that I explained earlier. Is I did not want to use the attention that I gained from making industry videos, the speeches and like, oh, this game, boo, hiss to this game. I did not want to direct that attention towards my projects. I didn't want people to support me just because they liked a video that I did. I hope that makes sense to you. That's why, yeah, I've been ramping down talking about my stuff because of that.
I think people just want like an intimate environment, being able to chill with someone who actually makes games. Yeah. I think, in my honest opinion of what you're doing right now, I almost feel like you're overthinking everything.
Probably that's one of my problems. That's something that happens to me is I think about it too much.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah, that's largely why I want to step away from the industry topics and the negative videos that I've been doing. Is I just want to talk about cool stuff. I want to be able to show games and cover different game engines, help people figure out what game engine is good for them, for the project that they want to make. Where's a good starting point? And those videos are the ones that I really enjoy making, but I was starting to understand I can't keep making the negative stuff and have this stuff on the same channel. It's not gonna work out.
Okay. I mean, just hearing that, I'm gonna just be honest. I'm like that inherently gives a distrust to the audience, because it's like, okay, so you're gonna separate the negative content from the positive content. So which one are you? Are you trying to garner two different audiences because you can't be honest with one audience? So you're two different people now? Like, and that's just my initial thought. Yeah. Like, do with that what you will. You don't have to listen question. To me.
No, it's not about, to me, it's not about the, being negative and positive. To me, when I say negativity, I'm talking about when I address industry topics. That's what I mean when I say negative, is they have a negative angle. It's not about being honest or dishonest. To me, there's nothing fun about those videos. There's nothing I like when it comes to those videos. And I really dislike seeing them when I'm looking at my list of content and I see, oh, this one's funny, this one's such a stupid joke, this one's ridiculous, this one's a cool video helping people get, what game engine should they get started with. And then I see one where I talk about the industry, and it makes me feel sick to my stomach, because I know that my intention was to be negative in order to achieve a particular goal with that video. And I personally don't want to do that anymore. But people are telling me that they want me to keep covering industry topics. And that's why, if people still want me to do that, then I would just set up a separate channel so that people can get just the stuff that they want to see.
That's fair. I guess.
Does that make sense?
That does. If I could offer just advice. Yeah. I'm not perfect, by the way. I'm not trying to pretend like I am here. But I have a lot of people let me know that they want me to talk about something or cover something all the time. And it's part of the work I do is trying to pick and choose what interests me and what I care about and what I actually want to cover. Because there could be like a very hot topic that everyone's talking about that I'm like, I don't really care about that. Like, I don't really, like with Nexus mods and stuff, that's a really hot topic right now. It's like I've covered that briefly on a live stream, but I'm like, I don't mod my games, so that's not a heavy topic for me. So I've had a lot of people reach out, tag me, and DM me information on it, and I tell them, I'm like, thanks, but I don't know if I'm going to be covering this or that. And then there's other things that I found on my own that I'm like, oh, I actually want to talk about this and present that to people that they never even thought about in the first place. And you having the position of being a game developer, I would just humble advice that I would offer to you is say, thank you for the advice of what you want me to cover, guys. Here's what I'm bringing to you, because this is unique that you don't know about. Like, I think that people would really, really appreciate that coming from you. Yeah. That's something that you can offer that no one else can.
That on board. Yeah.
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 Nobody for 5 says, I have many thoughts, but you want to make an impact. That's very clear. I think you don't that you were already making. I think you don't know you were already making one, is what he's saying. Yeah, you were making an impact before you had the heel turn. And I think that's what confused a lot of people. Oh, here we go. He says, it's clear you want to make an impact. I think you didn't realize you were already making one. There we go. And Old Man Grim for the 5 says, totally understand wanting to keep your business and personal hot takes separate, as I had the same dilemma when I came up with Old Man Grim. So I mean,
can take that on board. I can accept that. But again, and I talked about my friend passing away. And again, this is not, I didn't feel like at any point I was making the sort of tone where I was saying, feel sorry for me, because that's not what I was going for. But the friend that died recently is who taught me everything I know about working in the industry. The skills that I have, the ability that I have to be able to work in this environment comes from him. And so when he died, I felt immense guilt that I had not been using the experience and the knowledge and the wisdom that he passed on to me. Made me feel really guilty. And I did a terrible job explaining that. Obviously, I just was not in the right mindset to communicate with people, because I was still trying to process that guilt into something productive. And so I felt like I'm not doing enough to fight for gamers right now. I'm not having enough of an impact on the industry, and I need to do more. I have the experience and the skills to do it, and I have to do more. And that's why I rushed sabotaging the channel, is I just wanted to rush and get into the industry and do more. And I hope you understand what I'm saying here.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things I do understand. There's some things I don't. I mean, just being honest. We got True North says, but everything we say as criticism against you, you think of as purely hate. Like we can't criticize something we love, because people like you think criticism is me hating you.
No, I've never said that. I chat with people who openly criticize me, and then I talk with them and I openly say, look, I appreciate you sharing your honest opinions with me. So I'm not sure where people are getting that from, because there's so many people in the comment section who say they appreciate that I'll just listen to them, even though they disagree, even though they say that I've done something that wasn't great or bad. I'm glad to hear from that. I don't want to be around yes men. I do not want to be around people that say, oh, wow, good for you, good job. Because if you do that, you will never know if you're doing a good job or bad. You will know if you're a total a-hole or not. So I'm sorry, True North, but I disagree with you that I do not say that everything you say is criticism and then it's purely hate. When I say hate, I'm strictly referring to people that don't actually care about things. They're just, oh, this sucks, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks. I hate this, I hate that, I hate that, I hate that. Whenever I've mentioned hate, that is specifically what I'm talking about.
That's fair. I guess I would say, just in my humble opinion from my experience on here, if someone presents you with an argument saying that this is how they feel, I would not react to that saying, no, I've never done that. I would react saying, I'm really sorry that's the impression that I've given you. Because the way you just reacted to that was just like, that's why people are turning against you right there. It's like, don't do that. Don't do that. That you got to turn this around and say, all right, I need to start understanding people.
I appreciate that. See, I'm not good at YouTube. I don't understand this. So I appreciate you telling me that. And it's good. I can accept that you've told me that I've done something that's just poorly done. I've done a crappy job. So yeah, I'm going to try to improve on that and be better. But yeah, a number of things that I've done this month, I've just done a crappy job on.
Well, I mean, see, Matt Sanford said, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's an even worse response, Smash. See, I'm not perfect either.
We're two guys who are both, we're just going to make mistakes, and sometimes we're just going to say something shitty, and that's just how it is. But I hope you guys in the audience understand. I mean, Smash and I, Jeff and I, are trying. We're trying to do the right thing for you guys. We're obviously going to mess up sometimes.
No one's perfect, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want this to go on forever, and you've been so kind with your time tonight. So I guess we'll start winding it down with you.
Yeah.
I guess most important and the takeaway from all of this is just to give people your final thoughts on the situation and where we go from here, and then what you have coming up, so that they know where to find you.
Yeah. Look, I don't want to, self-promote and say, oh, I've got this cool thing coming up. Look, I just want to apologize because I didn't realize what an asshole move I made. I didn't realize what an asshole I was being to all of you. I was so racked with guilt, and I was so hyper-focused on achieving work in the industry and doing more to try to fight for gamers more. I was so hyper-focused on that, I didn't think about anything else. And I do understand that was really shitty. You shouldn't have done that. So yeah, I do owe everyone an apology. And I know that that's not something, I am no longer in a position where I can do things like that. In the past, I was basically lone wolf going at it with the industry. I did whatever I needed to do. And if someone needed me to do difficult work, they would send me in and we would just keep quiet about it. And they knew that if they need something to get done, then Jarrell will do it. And he'll be as brutal and ruthless as he needs to be to get it done. And so that's how I approach industry topics. And I am now learning I'm not in that position anymore. I cannot work that way anymore. So yeah, I apologize because I have hurt people. I made people mad. It was my intention to make people mad because I was sabotaging and sacrificing my channel for better positioning. And the reason why I wanted better positioning was because I wanted to fight more for gamers. I wanted to do more. I don't feel like I'm doing enough with these videos. I want to do more. I want to be able to make sure that gamers' voices aren't just heard here on YouTube. I want to make sure they're heard in auditoriums and in meeting rooms. I want to meet with these people and I want to tell them exactly how you guys feel. And I was frustrated that I wasn't already doing that. And that's maybe sabotaging the channel and sacrificing it was the wrong approach for that. But I will work something out and I will make it happen. I wasn't supposed to tell you all of this because this now sacrifices that. That puts it in a position where if they look online, they'll say, look, Jarrell does have a bias. I'm going to have to deal with that now. That's my problem. That's my battle to fight. I got to
interrupt you there because if that's the approach a company's going to take, I would argue you don't want anything to do with working with them anyways. Why would you want to work in that environment where you have to be fake to get in there? I'm at a loss when I hear that.
Sorry, that was really funny to me. A lot of the professional world is fake. A lot of it you're dealing with fakes and you have to navigate through it.
But that being the case, you have the ability as a developer, as an indie developer, to break through with your own creations. Like you look at a game like Schedule 1, no-name developer, single dude makes his own game and goes crazy bananas, everyone's playing it. And he didn't have to break trends or pretend to be someone he's not. He was able to do it on his own. So that should be inspirational to you.
Yeah. I'm not talking about making games part. I'm talking about getting into meetings and doing speeches and presentations. And that's why I needed to look more neutral online. That's why I was trying to get everyone upset and making hate content about me. Because again, previously there was only hate content coming from one side of the conversation. If there's people angry at me from both sides and they look online, they say, oh, okay, both sides are angry at him. He must be, he must not be biased towards one or the other. That was my thought process.
Do you have any ideas as far as where you take your channel tomorrow?
I'm just going to let it sit. People are burned out, but I was serious with the direction I want to take it, and that's just making whatever is fun. Like I said, the vast majority of my videos that I've been making over the past few months, they've just been dumb, funny jokes, and I just want to give people just a little bit of positivity for their day. That's really what I want. Whether it's talking about a cool retro console, or there's a sale on this game engine that's really good and easy to jump into. I just wanted to make cool, positive stuff for people. That's what I want to focus on with my channel. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but that's what I'm going to do.